This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online guitar academy. I'm so delighted to have you joining me here. In this quick answer episode, I'm going to talk about what to do with a strumming pattern when you have more than one chord showing up per measure. So usually when we're playing and we're doing some sort of strumming pattern, then we're inserting that once per measure. But what do we do when we have more than one chord per measure? Well, I've got some examples here on the board for 3/4 time and 4/4 time. Anything else, the same principle is going to apply, but these are some really common situations we might find ourselves in, common ways to handle it. So, if you need help with reading rhythmic notation, you can check out my quick answer video on rhythmic notation and understanding strumming patterns. But just a little review, these little rectangles that look like so, three-sided rectangle, open at the bottom, those indicate that that's a down strum. So when those are over the rhythmic value, we're doing a down strum. And then the V, like a U, indicates that we do up strum. And so down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Those same symbols are used with bowing of other stringed instruments, so it all sort of correlates. Okay, so we'll start out here in 3/4. 3/4 is a little bit tricky. When there are two chords per bar, we're going to have, there's basically two ways that it almost always happens. It could happen maybe one other way, but it doesn't usually happen. Chord changes usually happen on a beat, and so we could have, and I'm using G and C as an example, we could have G fall over beat 1 and then C come in on beat 2. So that one goes G, C. And when we're playing, we always have the option of reducing to just doing down strums or just up strums. So if the G is on beat 1 and then C comes in on beat 2, we could have G, C. We can also just sort of maintain down up strumming, G, C, G, C. Or we can continue the strumming pattern we're using. So if we were using this strumming pattern, which is really common for 3/4 time, where we go down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, then we would go G, C. Do is make sure and catch that new chord wherever it happens in the strumming pattern. So G, C. If the C were to come in on beat 3, that's the other common place for it to come in. Now you might see it coming in on an off beat, but that's kind of rare. With our strumming patterns and with chord changes, especially in pop and folk and things like that, we're usually changing chords right on the beat. So 1, 2, and 3, and. So if I was just doing down strums, 1, 2, 3, so twice on G, once on C. Or with the down up, 1, up, 2, up, 3, 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 up, something like that. Now if I was maintaining my strumming pattern, I would go 1, 2, up, 3, up, 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 and so on and so forth. So 3/4 is a little weird like that. 4/4 is sort of a common place for us to see two chords per bar. We almost always in 4/4 see that second chord coming in on beat 3, so halfway into the measure. We're going to look at it that way, but if it didn't come in halfway between the measure, the same principle applies of what we worked on up here where it came in on a different beat. So beat 2 or beat 4, we can look at that. But first, let's look at just how the normal thing happens with two chords per bar. This happens all the time. One way to handle it, and a very great way to handle it, is to use down, down, up on the first chord, and then use down, down, up on the second chord. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. So G, than not, down, down, up is how our strumming pattern begins. So we're just using the first half and we use it twice. If you had a different strumming pattern, you could use the first half of that strumming pattern twice if you wanted to. But that's really, really common. If we were using this strumming pattern and the C came in instead on beat 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and, or if the C came in on beat 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. So it's just as simple as wherever that chord comes in, but usually when there's 2 chords per bar, they're coming in halfway between. So here's another option. Here's another strumming pattern that we use a lot. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and down, down, up, down, up, down, up. So for that second chord, then we can use down, up, down, up. We could just continue the strumming pattern as is and bring that second chord in right where it happens. So G, C, even if we're using a different strumming pattern, when we get to a spot with 2 chords per bar, we could choose to do either one of these. They both work great. Now, we'll practice. We'll look at this. If C came in on beat 2 instead, G, C, G, C, if the C came in instead on beat 4, 1, like so. So one that gets a little bit tricky is when we get some syncopation going on in the chord, in the strumming pattern, and that's like this one down here. Down, I might have blocked that. The one down here on the bottom of the board. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. So I'm just playing that on the G chord. This is like the most classic universal strumming pattern I think I see run across multiple styles. It just happens a lot. It's very, very popular. Probably the most popular strumming pattern used consistently. So when we have 2 chords in this case, it's a little bit different because the C is actually coming in on beat 3, but beat 3 is obscured. We're not actually playing on beat 3 with a strum. We're ringing through beat 3 with a previous strum. So this changes things up. I can do a couple things. I could choose, if I came across this and this was my normal strumming pattern, I could use one of these other 2. That happens all the time. G, so I just added a measure of G with this in front of doing that. And then I could also do that one. G, G, C, C. So if I was playing something where I was using this strumming pattern and then came to a spot where there were 2 chords per bar, I could switch to either one of those. But if I wanted to use this one, then what happens is we anticipate the chord change. We're going to bring it in a little bit early. So we just bring it in to the closest strumming part of the strumming pattern that happens just before that. It should be like an 8th note before that. Could be a 16th note if you had something really tricky or got into sort of double time feel. So that would sound like G, C, anticipates the chord, puts forward momentum. I'll give an example of this in a little bit longer context with G, C, D, and C. So G, anticipate, D, anticipate, anticipate. Keeps a forward momentum going to it. If I were to do it the other way, sort of makes it as though that second chord is an afterthought, which works okay at the end if we were going to end and we wanted to put an emphasis on it. So for instance, and if I want to end, that's about the only time I would probably hold off and not anticipate if I wanted to sort of cadence it and have it be its own thing. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope you're having a blast doing guitar, and take care. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.